Welcome to part 2 of getting the most from Find a Grave. You will need an account to be able to take advantage of the features we're going to cover in this section. Basically, there's two areas we're going to cover. One is documenting your successful searches by keeping a list of favorite cemeteries and virtual cemeteries. Then we'll cover how to save, share, and publish your information with physically printed reports, digital reports, and exporting data. So let's look at documenting what you have spent time looking for. Favorite cemeteries is simply a list of your favorite cemeteries that you may want to review again without having to go back and search through Find a Grave to find them. It saves time in research. Virtual cemeteries allows you to create a personal cemetery of your ancestors, friends, and anyone else. You do this across the physical ones, but it's easy then to see all of the people that you're tracking in one place. Let's see how easy it is. I'm back at the home page of Find a Grave. I am logged in. As you can see right here, it's got my name on it. So we're going to go to cemeteries again, and I'm going to click on cemeteries, and I'm going to show you my favorite cemeteries are. When you go to the cemeteries page, right here on the right side, if you have any cemeteries, it will list any favorite cemeteries. It'll list them. I have 10. It only shows up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at a time. But if I click this, it'll go ahead and push that advertisement away. And here's all of my favorite cemeteries. Different reasons maybe you want favorite cemeteries. For example, this Bone Cemetery. I've never been there. It's clear out in the boonies in Dixon County, Tennessee. I had a hard time finding it. Now that I found it, I want to know where it's at. So that's on my short bucket list to get over there. The Lee Methodist Cemetery. It's in the boonies in Switzerland County, Indiana. I did visit it about 8 or 10 years ago, and it is nearly impossible to find. So I've got it here, and I've got the GPS coordinates for all these. So this is a very valuable tool to keep all this. And some of them I've got just locally. I've got the Maple Grove here. I've got Pleasant Valley Cemetery, which is up in Bentley, where a large part of my family is buried. So there's a lot of reasons you may want to keep a list of favorite cemeteries, particularly ones you want to revisit over and over, or ones that you don't want to lose and have to spend hours trying to find again. So that's one of the reasons you want to use favorite cemeteries. Let me show you how to add one to a favorite cemetery. I'm going to pull up one that I know I have nearby, Star Cemetery. It's in Harvey County, Kansas. And let me just say, and say search. And there it is. So I'm gonna open up Star Cemetery. It's a small one. It's about 236 added records to it. I've got one relative in there, another Civil War veteran. It's in Patterson, a town that has 2 houses and a grain elevator, I think. So all you have to do, this is real simple, it's embarrassing, it says add favorite. If you were logged in, if I go look at my cemetery list now, I had 10 a while ago, now I have 11. So it's probably down here at the bottom, right there at the bottom. So I don't have to go, searching for it again. It's right here, and then I can do searches for the people in there and everything. You can see it on the map if you don't remember how to get there, which a lot of these are hard to find. So anyway, favorite cemeteries, a great feature. Let me show you one that's even better. This is really my favorite tool of all of Find a Grave. You've got an extended family that's kind of scattered all over maybe the area or maybe the country. So let's go back and look at, remember I had Maddie Christine in some time back. See if I spelled it right the first time. And there she is, Maddie Anna Christine. Now she was up here in Harvey County. I've got relatives in Michigan, Washington State, Texas, Oklahoma, that I want to keep track of these people. all I have to do is, for now, her in one place, I say save to, and then this other bar will come up. I can save it to Ancestry, I can save it to the clipboard, I can print it, I can save it to Virtual Cemetery. I've already set up about, looks like 7 virtual cemeteries. If you haven't set one up, you can create a new one. I'm just going to do one here. This is for a test for Zoom. Okay, and say save. And now I'll go back to back to cemeteries. Notice we saw earlier the favorite cemeteries are listed here. If I scroll down farther, here's all my virtual cemeteries. I'm going to click on this name because it'll open it up. I've got 8 of them. It only shows 5 here. And there's the test for Zoom one I just added. And there's Maddie Anna Gert. Now she's actually already she's in my Johnson ancestors. My mother's maiden name is Johnson, and she's here. You can have them in multiple places if you need be. They don't even have to be. And here's Clark Bagel. This is up Clark Baggett, not Bagel. This is up my paternal side. This is just a list of them that I manage. Maple Grove. There's a lot of the Civil War tombstones over there that I've cleaned them as a project. Point being is I've done one for veterans and friends. These are veterans I knew or friends of mine that I want to keep track of. There's a bunch of soldiers that lost their lives in World War II that I'm working on a project for. It's just a way to group the memorials that you're interested in and you may want to revisit. So that's a great tool. So use favorite cemeteries and virtual cemeteries. You'll be glad you did. Now that we have all that great information from our favorite cemeteries, our virtual cemeteries, let's see how we can use that in some of our genealogy activities. We could actually print out the virtual cemeteries as kind of some documentation of all the people we're tracking. We could also make a PDF file out of that and send that to your relatives or anyone that's interested in it. Either those, the paper one or the digital version, you could file with your records. Also, bypassing the printing function, you could actually send someone your ID number. They can look you up and they can see your virtual cemeteries. Then make them print it out or see how they want it. Also, there's a way to export this information to a tab delimited file, a TXT file that can be imported into Excel if you use that as part of your storage techniques. I'll show you how to do that. So let's look at Find a Grave one more time. If you remember, the virtual and favorite cemeteries are under the Cemeteries tab. It's a good place for them. I'm going to scroll down and look at my Clark, Baggett, and Cagle virtual cemeteries and use that as an example. You say it does a nice report right here. And suppose you want to print this out on your own printer for your files or to take it with you or to share to someone in person. Here's a funny little faux pas of Find a Grave. There's no print button up here. There's no menu, there's no place, no drop down to do a print. So as in most applications, whether it's on a Mac or a Windows platform, you can do a right click anywhere on the window and say print. And by default, I had it set up as a PDF. You can send it to a printer. And if you'll notice also one little nice feature they did for us for not putting up a print button, they took off all the advertisements for this document. So I had printed it out, and here's a copy of it, all nice and clean, and you can file it away. You could also just, you've probably got a PDF printer set up in your system. You could just save it to a PDF file. And I've done that also. I won't go through the steps on here. And there it is as a PDF file. So you could send this via email to someone, or you can store it in your digital archives. So there's some great flexibility there. So there's some great flexibility there in saving your information that you created. I'm going to show you another neat little trick they have in here. And that is to export this to a data file. Now, you don't go to the cemeteries tab and look at those. They've got this one kind of hidden, another little quirk, but you need to be logged in, and you go up here where your screen name is, and then go to account. This is some general account information where you can set up your general profile and your password and everything. This information is under the last one called data and privacy. It took me a while to figure that out. So if I click on that, here's a screen that comes up, says data download, your contributions data. Here's where you can download the information of that names that are associated with your favorite cemeteries and names in your virtual cemeteries. Little caveat, I get questionable results of when I choose a favorite cemetery. Sometimes it doesn't show, or yes, a favorite cemetery. It's supposed to cross-reference to a virtual cemetery, but doesn't always do it. But it works without fail if you go to virtual cemeteries. If I look at this Clark, Baggett, Cagle, and I click that, and here's what you get from that virtual cemetery. This is a tab delimited text file. Looks like a little bit of garbage right here. But if you're familiar with using Excel and importing this type of data, it really works well. We'll show you what it looks like in a Excel spreadsheet. Here's an Excel spreadsheet that I imported that file into. As you can see, this is the memorial ID number, even though they call it grid for whatever reasons, the name, but it's real wide, but it shows all the cemetery names, where it's at, and all the information that's on a memorial page. If you're not an experienced user with Excel, this feature may not be useful to you. Maybe just stick with the PDF, saving them and the printed copies of your virtual cemeteries. But either way, one of these should be employed if you use Find a Grave to record a lot of information. You really ought to use one of these techniques and consider them your backup. If you didn't do one of these techniques, whether saving a PDF file electronically or printing out a copy, if Find a Grave went away, you would have lost all of the information. So we always talk about backing up your data. This is another way to back up your Find a Grave information. I want to show you one more feature in creating these reports, whether a PDF or a printed one, that will help you. When you're looking at a virtual cemetery, here's all the ones again from my Clark Baggett Cagle virtual cemetery. You can see it's got a heading name here, and it's got some information. You can just go to the Edit tab, click on that. You can change the title, and you could also put a description in here of anything you want relative to that set of memorials. So, great little way to document what you have.